let's have a lesson and discussion on this work. Follow the lesson for free and just pick up all the tips from the video for free. But if you're interested, I do have a sheet music edition of Caprice No. 1 to 4, and there's a link for that in the description. This is an excellent opening to the collection. It's largely a challenge in terms of control and balance over the texture. But there's also just lots of great phrasing and momentum in the piece, dynamics and directional phrasing. So it's a real workout in terms of musicality. More than anything. There is quite a bit of also like chord shapes to navigate. Nothing actually that's awkward though, which is nice, but you do have to know it well enough that you can shift from, one shape to the next smoothly in the context of what's happening with the phrasing. So I think that's the challenge and the delight of the piece, is to just really be exploring that phrasing and directional phrasing and momentum while navigating just some of these non-awkward shapes. Nevertheless, they are somewhat thick, so it does take some time to navigate them. And then there's just one or two spots that have a couple of like stretches that bring it more into the later intermediate level. One thing to really work on this piece is to just take small fragments and make sure that you're easing into the phrase, even though sometimes the dynamics look like piano and then forte. But you don't really want to crash out the forte, I don't think. I think you want to ease into it. So although there's block dynamics there, I think it's all in the context of growing into it and out of it in phrasing, right? In dynamic shaping. So when you're going through it, really working on each of those phrases. Having that sense of growth in the line and not just banging it out. I think it really helps the piece become much more musical and also gives a lot of direction to that phrasing. So going through all of it and just finding out all those spots, even when it's just a single line, a little bit of growth. All those sections in there just really deserve to have a little bit of quite a bit of thought attributed to them. And so when you're practicing, although you have lots of shapes to deal with, just really always put it in the context of learning to shape those lines. I think we can just do a walkthrough though. There's not a lot else to talk about. It's a lot of musical work, and then just making sure you know all of these shapes. You have a couple of like little grace note figures, so you can just practice those on their own, just making sure they're nice and crisp. I'll go a little bit slower. I am sometimes muting, I'm muting on those bass note rests. Even there, I banged out that first note, but really I should ease into it. Same thing there. Growth. When I say growth too, I don't just mean in terms of like dynamic levels, but also just like a little bit of, it's almost not even rubato, it's just some directional phrasing where you kind of like, you go with the line and you let it tumble towards the destination a little bit. I'm missing some of those. Let me just try that again from measure 14. On C here, that way the first finger is available for that F sharp. Here I do swing my second finger over there just because we're holding on to the C here and it's really useful. Then a bar. This is a little bit of a stretch. But one nice thing about that is that you're kind of like this, and then you have the fourth finger down. You can just slide the fourth finger up and get that shape, and then clamp down that bass. And then move up. Same thing here, but here you're lucky enough that you can grab the bass first. Use 3-2 here, that way 1 is available for here. There's no trick to that shift there. You just have to make sure it's as smooth as possible. You can just work on it in isolation. I bar all 6 strings through here. That way I can end up with that full chord. That previous section too, it's quite thick, but there's actually nothing to really discuss. It's just really getting to know those shapes. Make sure to count the right number of beats there. I think when I was doing the example there, I didn't over all 6 strings. If you can manage it. If you can't, if it's awkward to bar all 6 strings, you can bar 4 strings and then just switch to 6 later, because it gets kind of blocky. You know, you can just add the bar when needed. And then it's a return to the opening. Rest. I like to do that quite soft through there. That way that this seems more dramatic. This part, just make a full C major chord and then just play through it. Extension of 4, and then shift. It's really easy in this piece to get distracted by all the little chord changes, even though with the exception of a couple stretches in that intersection, like most of them are fairly easy, but they are distracting because it's a lot of like 3-finger chords to grab, and then your musicality can suffer because you're so focused on just getting those chords. So even when I was recording it, I noticed a couple of times I'm trying to concentrate and play all the notes correctly, but the musicality can suffer. So you have to just kind of really work it and rework it until the musicality and the technique are working together really well. There's not a huge secret to it in this piece. The fingerings in my edition I think work really well. It's just a matter of really practicing it with proper intentions.